Hello everyone. I don't usually do unboxing videos, but tempted to do one in the case of this order that I've just received today. I was watching Lee Hughes' channel the other day, and he was showing some 20mm figures that he's just finished painting, and he mentioned a company called Armourfast, which I hadn't heard of before, but it caught my attention because I've got quite a lot of 20mm Korean War figures, and as I mentioned in an earlier previous video, Warlord have announced that they're going to bring out a Korean War supplement to Bolt Action. So I've got the Korean War and 20mm scale terrain and figures in my at the front of my mind at the moment. I'm looking forward to this supplement coming out in September, and I think I'd heard of Armourfast before, but I hadn't really investigated them too much, and it struck me that I might be able to find some terrain or some vehicles or something that was suitable for the Korean War on their website. And sure enough, they had quite a lot of terrain, from which they've sourced in from a company called Javis, who are based in Stockport, I believe. It's either Stockport or Southport. I always get those two places confused. Anyway, so I placed an order for some pieces, and they arrived today, and I wanted to open them up in front of the camera and just talk a little bit about them, because I think, just looking at them in the packets, I'm really pleased with them. This particular one is a Battle Zone Derelict Building Type 2. Now the thing is, I've had a look on Jarvis's website. Armourfast seem to deal solely in sort of 20mm figures, but Jarvis in fact do some of their terrain they label as 15mm, some as 20mm, and some as 25/28mm, and some of the pieces I've ordered actually look a little bit too large to be suitable for 20mm figures to me. But that doesn't worry me, because I think this terrain is so nice that if I can't use it for the Korean War, then I can certainly use it for 28mm Bolt Action. So no problem there whatsoever. I'm really pleased I've made this purchase. And Armourfast, by the way, really good service. It all ordered and arrived in a couple of days. I think I ordered them on Sunday, and today is Thursday, so they arrived very swiftly. And it was actually late on Sunday night. It was probably more likely to have been a early Monday morning. One of those sort of typical purchases you make after having imbibed a few too many glasses of wine or whatever, and you're browsing the internet. But the Korean War, especially in 20mm, is a particular problem when you're trying to source terrain. Now, a ruin is a ruin is a ruin. This is obviously a 20th century building, because I think, I don't know, I wouldn't like to swear to it, but maybe they are sandbags there. But this could do for any theatre, and really it could be any scale, couldn't it? There are the bricks. I've got some 20mm figures out here, unpainted, apologies. Just got them out for scale comparison size. But those bricks could be 20mm or 28, so it doesn't matter. So that's going to be fine. But one of the problems you have with the Korean peninsula, the Korean War and the Korean theatre, is that the buildings are very, how should we say, some of them are generic, so you could use buildings such as this that would look just as correct in Europe or something, but a lot of the buildings have got a far more kind of Asian appearance, and in 20mm that's quite hard to find. Vietnam has some kind of similar appearances, so hooches and things like that aren't dissimilar from the kind of thing you might find in rural parts of Korea. As far as kind of built up city areas go, it's a little bit of a mishmash, Korea. You have kind of Oriental style buildings, so some kind of buildings that you might find in Japan might not look too out of place. Japan governed Korea, imposed their rule on Korea from 1910 to 1945. So a lot of buildings would have been kind of constructed in a 20th century but non-Korean looking fashion, if that makes sense. So you get sort of Art Deco style buildings and factories and warehouses and modern type buildings, but you've also got those kind of shanty town kind of shop front appearances. So there's a kind of, I don't know what the word is. There's a kind of dilemma in that you've got a problem, first of all, finding terrain in 20mm, but then you've got this extra problem of finding things that would look right in the setting of Korea. And I've never satisfactorily really got something that I said, yeah, that is definitely Korea and nowhere else. But as I say, real sort of mix of things. But the kind of generic scenery like this, and like Foxholes and battlefield trench systems and so on, they're ideal for Korea. I mean, I was recently watching again the film, I don't know if you've ever seen it, Pork Chop Hill, starring Gregory Peck. Absolutely brilliant film if you've never watched it. Even if you're not interested in the Korean War, it's a really good war movie with a really intelligent kind of portrayal of fighting. It would have worked equally well as a film set in the Second World War, really. But some really, really good battle sequences, but done in a very kind of intelligent and informed way. This one I'm opening up here, by the way, is Small Foxhole 1. But anyway, in the film, they're fighting over Pork Chop Hill, and the whole area is kind of riddled with trench systems and foxholes and small bunkers and things like that. Things like this, in fact. So these caught my eye, and these would be ideal for fighting a scenario like Pork Chop Hill, or like any of the many hills that were fought over, particularly at the end of the last couple of years of the Korean conflict. I won't go into that too much at the moment because I want to do future videos on the subject of the Korean War, but it really is a fascinating war, overlooked by war gamers and historians of the 20th century in general. But you can see from this one, this is a 20mm figure, and let's just zoom in a little bit. And that 20mm figure doesn't look out of place, but neither would a 28mm figure. So these are going to be perfect. Next one is, now these ones here, this is a trench type 2, and I suspect just looking at this in the packet that it's too large or too deep to put 20mm figures in. I suspect this is really going to only be of use for 28mm figures. Yeah, I'm really impressed by Armourfast as well, but you can order these direct from Javis. And as I say, if you go to the Javis site, they're a little bit more precise in their descriptions of the terrain. So this one I think is under their 25-28mm description rather than 20mm. But yeah, definitely, unless, I don't know, yeah, you see, you could have a very deep trench that wasn't intended, you know, would have had a firing step if you were going to fire over it. So that's not too far out, is it? I think that's usable just as a kind of a non-fighting position, but a kind of passageway between two, a sort of protected area between two other pieces of terrain. So that's not, yeah, that's not out of the question to be used. Sandbags are a little bit large, aren't they? I suppose sandbags are more than half the height of a figure, so they might be a little bit big. I don't know. Anyway, it's a nice little bit of terrain. And yeah, Armourfast, by the way, very impressed with them, because I ordered 7 items and only 6 were in the box, and I just rang them up and they immediately said, oh yeah, we've just found, I didn't even have to tell them my name or what the order was, they just said, oh yeah, we found something on the side that we didn't pack, so we'll get it to you in the post today. So very polite and very efficient. Very impressed by them. Well, I'm just opening up now trench type 3, so this is another trench section. Let's zoom out again a little bit. So again, with this, it looks a little bit on the large side for 20mm. But again, it doesn't worry me, because I can make use of it for 28mm wargaming. Yeah, I would say that is definitely too large for 20mm. If you look at this sort of planked or timbered section here, that looks as though the pieces of timber are a little bit on the gigantic side. But you've got sort of similar, you can put the two pieces together like that, you see, to have a kind of longer length of trench system. Oh, and there's a tyre there. You can see kind of sculpted, moulded into the bank there, and that could be 20mm. It's not out of the question, is it? Not totally out of proportion, but the figure is a little bit dwarfed by the terrain. You certainly couldn't stand and fire over that without a firing step or something. Right, what else have we got here? Next one up is another foxhole, type 1, this time medium foxhole it's described as. And I can't see any problem with putting 20mm figures in this. So I'd never really come across Javis before, but they've been around a long time by the look of their website. I think it said they were established in the 1970s. They do a lot of model railway terrain and so on. I don't know whether they've... Not so impressed by that. It's a little bit warped. Might be able to flatten that out in some warm water or something. It's a little bit on the wobbly side. But lovely, you know, sort of lovely texture and detail in it. That's going to paint up really nicely and really effectively, I think. It's almost as much of a kind of a reinforced shell hole as it is a foxhole. And the figures can easily fire over it. So another nice little terrain piece. And then finally, as I say, the I've ordered some sandbag barricades as well, and they weren't included. I'll get those in the next couple of days. But judging by the trench system, I would imagine that they're going to be a little bit too large for 20mm. But certainly the ruined building and the Foxholes pieces. This is foxhole number 4, small foxhole. They'll be fine. And I have got some really old terrain. Can't remember the name of the company. I think it might have been Hudson and Allen. Got it years and years ago. That was specified as 20mm. But yeah, I think that's lovely. And again, no problem with putting 20mm figures in that. They match that quite nicely. Easily stand so they're firing over the sandbags, so that's perfect for them. So anyway, just thought I'd put up a short video just to show you those and recommend them if you haven't come across them. Oh, something else I wanted to recommend as well is just to give a quick mention of another wargaming YouTube channel that I've come across recently, who's only got started last November. I just subscribed to him, and at the moment he's got 16 subscribers, but well worth taking a look at. And his channel is called Boots on the Table with Gamer Dom, and he does a lot of bolt action, but he's also into black powder and sharps practice and things. He's only got about 5 or 6 videos up at the moment, but really good presentation style and interesting subjects that he talks about, so worth taking a look at. I'll put a link in the box down below for you to link to his channel. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. Bye.